It's a Friday night in Durham, North Carolina, with the Army Black Knights paying a visit to Cameron Indoor Stadium to take on the 7th-ranked Duke Blue Devils. And welcome everybody inside Cameron Indoor, along with Army's 9th all-time leading scorer, Chris Spatola. I'm Doug Sherman, and Chris, your alma mater is going to have its hands full tonight against a couple of the best freshmen in the country who showed out very well in Monday's opener against Maine.
Yeah, well, the first thing they showed you is that they both play the game with great character. They are both competitive monsters. They share that DNA, but they also share a varied offensive package. I mean, Con Knippel puts it on the floor. He's physical, he's strong, and an elite shooter. He can do it really all over the floor. And then, of course, Cooper Flagg, if you haven't heard of him, where you been? A guy who can, again, do everything. I mean, he's leading Duke in assists after 2 exhibitions in that game against Maine. He gets after it on the defensive end. He's got really good length on that side of the floor, and then can take you in a post and go up over the top. Both these guys, when they have the ball, Doug, it always seems to end up going to where it's supposed to go.
That's a good thing, then.
Yes, it is.
And both these guys have set up the statisticians around here and back at ESPN with all sorts of nuggets based on how they have started their careers. Also for Cooper Flagg, Trey Jones, 5 years ago, was the last Blue Devil with 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in each of his first 2 games. So all sorts of things we're keeping track of. Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel against Army from the Patriot League. And so there are commemorative jerseys being worn by Duke. You see they're wearing gray at home with the gold trim, and that is an homage to the military and to those who serve. And of course, it all dates back in recent memory to that man, Mike Krzyzewski, Captain Mike Krzyzewski, who more than a half a century ago was a player, a star point guard, a captain on the basketball team at West Point.
More than a half century ago. You really dated him there. We haven't even started the game yet, Doug.
I remember when I started being able to easily recall a quarter century ago. I'm thinking, boy, I'm getting old. Now I'm pushing remembering a half century ago. Although I don't remember Coach K playing for Bob Knight. That to me is still history. Should be fun. Army and Duke, regular combatants in non-conference play, and it's so good to have you with us here on a Friday night to see if Army in its black and Duke in its gray can play their finest here on ACC Network. And it's the Blue Devils with the basketball first, and Caleb Foster, their sophomore point guard from Harrisburg, North Carolina. Knippel denied. Right there to clean it up. Come on, Malawach.
Jon Scheyer loves going to Knippel off of, a staggered screen, something to get him curling into the lane because he's a really good passer and finisher. Army had the first shot there defended, but Malawach wide open on the offensive board.
Now, Army is a team heavy in the backcourt. They've got 3 guys who will cause Duke some trouble. Ryan Curry is the point guard, and then you've got Josh Scovins and Jalen Rucker, both scoring options in the backcourt as well.
It's a young team. Scovins and Curry, both sophomores, got a lot of playing time last year in the first season for Kevin Kuick, their head coach. Rucker really has the experience with this group, a guy who's been in this building, has played a lot of basketball, sat out last year.
That foul goes against Con Knippel. And Josh Scovins was the Patriot League Rookie of the Year last season. And in their opening game win over Albany on Monday, he put 22 on the board. Got good size, 6'6", 220 pounds, a sophomore from just about an hour west of here in Greensboro. He told us this morning that he's got 11 friends and family members who've made the drive to Cameron. Although this is not his first trip to Cameron, he did come to camp 3 or 4 times as a kid and had the opportunity to hear Coach K speak then, and has an opportunity to play in front of him here tonight. And there is the aforementioned Kevin Kuick, second-year head coach. He graduated from Notre Dame in 1996, and he was specifically qualified in so many ways to get the head coaching job at Army.
He sure was. He's a veteran himself, a guy who has been all over the place in terms of his coaching journey in lineage. Mike Buddy, the AD at Army, made a great hire last year to get Kevin Kuick here.
Malawach misses the three. There's Knipple ripping the rebound away from Blake Barker. Foster from the corner. He finds the range.
Kon Knipple is always on the offensive glass. I mean, he is relentless. And because Duke plays 5 out, all of these guys on the perimeter are getting a running start to that offensive glass.
Off the bounce. Scovens missed. Ball pinballs to Tyrese Proctor, the junior from Sydney, Australia. Gives it to the star freshman, and with the lane opening wide, Cooper Flagg goes right to the rim.
Again, 5 out, meaning all 5 of Duke players are outside that three-point line, and because of how they shoot it, that contributes to that spacing.
There's the defensive presence as a help defender we have seen from Flagg, coming over to get the shot block. Malawach rips the offensive rebound, gets it back out onto the perimeter. Flagg drive and dish. Proctor 0 for 2.
You're a little bit lucky if you're Army. You know, they play a pack line and they're going to give up threes. They want to protect the paint, but you can't overhelp.
Flagg clears the Barker miss.
Duke is a very good extra pass team. They're very unselfish. So if you overhelp, they are quick to throw to the open shooter.
Under 15 to shoot. Proctor all over the ball handler. Barker gets it back out to the perimeter. Wide open look for Rucker. And as Chris mentioned, 2 years ago, he was first team all-conference in the Patriot. Took last year off, and they were so happy to get him back with the program in August. Ball knocked out of bounds. And Roger Ayers says it will stay at that end. The head coach of the 7th-ranked team in the country, Jon Scheyer, in his 3rd year back at his alma mater. His 12th year on staff. Of course, after he finished his professional career, he worked under Coach K at every level and put himself in position to take over the program when the man whose name is on the court here at Cameron decided to hang up the whistle. Flagg still looking for his first made 3 as a collegiate player. Rucker, and the senior from Baltimore, pulls Army back within a point.
Well, he had a good game here 2 years ago, like you said, Doug, and those are the kind of shots you've got to hit in a game like this. Army will run opportunistically, but they played at one of the slowest tempos in the country last year. Like, if they don't have anything early, they're going to the end of the shot clock.
Malik Brown fouled on his dunk attempt off the miss by Foster.
Malik Brown has done a really nice job for this team so far. You know, he's a different look than Malawach when he comes in. He gives Duke the ability to switch 1 through 5. They can pick up and pressure a little bit more, change some ball screen coverages. But their offense also looks differently. Like, he is a very good passer and a very good facilitator of their offense at the top of the key. You know, he doesn't give you a lot with his body language. I mean, you really don't know if he's up 10, down 10, but he just goes about his business, and he's been a very good fit on both ends so far for Duke.
Well, we asked Jon Scheyer earlier this week, who does Malik Brown defensively remind you of? And he came up with Shane Battier. He said he's not Shane Battier, but he's of that same ilk. 6'8", 6'9", disruptive on the perimeter. I'm amazed the way Malik Brown is able to handle defensively even the quickest of ball handling guards.
And that's what he does best. He is a deflection master.
In practice, more than twice as many deflections as any of his teammates. Cooper Flagg on the receiving end.
It's one of the things Kevin Kuick was concerned about. You can't turn it over in this building, and you can't let Duke get out on those runs, and turnovers will be a spark for that.
Ryan Curry, the point guard, dumps it off. Good looking set to find A.J. Allensbach, the senior from South Carolina, for the layup. Back to a 1-point game. Proctor 0 for 3 from that side.
And Duke's had open looks.
Rucker got himself in a tough spot, turns it over. Here comes Flagg. And then the reach-in foul going to be called against Isaiah Caldwell.
You turn it over in this building, Duke's going to get out and run. This team goes from defense to offense really fast. And when you got that guy to catch lobs, got a high percentage.
What an opportunity for the Army Black Knights to come to Cameron Indoor Stadium and measure themselves against one of the true blue bloods, 5-time national champs. You, in your playing days at Army, got to play here, Chris Spatola, a couple of times. What are these young men from Army going through right now, their first 5 minutes of playing at Cameron?
Well, it's a flood of emotions. I mean, first of all, just dealing with the building, you know, dealing with the Cameron Crazies, dealing with the talent on the other side. You know, I remember the year we played here, it's Jay Williams, it's Carlos Boozer, Shane Battier. I mean, these guys you're used to watching on TV. Now all of a sudden you're on the same floor with them. And I think you got to get over that idea of you have to believe you belong here. You belong out on that floor, you can compete. I don't think there's any doubt that these Army players, they're not going to be afraid. That's one thing.
Well, that is one thing Duke head coach Jon Scheyer made clear to us this afternoon after shoot-around, that this Army group, every Army group, is better positioned to be able to come into Cameron and not be afraid of either the Duke across the chest or from the Cameron Crazies.
You know, Duke's had a lot of open threes, and it's one of the things that Army was willing to give up. Again, they play a pack line, so they're trying to protect the paint. And if you're Army playing a team like Duke, like, you're going to have to give some things up to take some things away. And that was the one thing Kevin Kuick was willing to give up. Duke 1 of 8 from 3 to start this game.
And have now missed 8 of 9, 8 of their last 9 from the floor. Mason Gillis, the Purdue grad transfer, now back outside to Sion James, way off the mark. Cooper Flagg fights for the ball and pulls it out. Gillis again, this time with a wide open look, no. And the Blue Devils remain stone cold from the perimeter.
You know, it looked there like Army was in a triangle and 2, and the 2 defenders were on Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel. You know, I think we're going to see a lot of that, Doug. Like, Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel are by far their best offensive players, and I think taking them out of the game, that's where your game plan needs to start. And Army just giving it a shot, giving it a look.
Well, Knippel has yet to score tonight in their opener Monday against Maine. It feels like 6 minutes in, he was already into double figures. Find the open man in the corner. It's an air ball long from Tate Latchkowski. Knippel, as though he heard me say he had yet to score.
That's the one guy Coach K used to call it an awareness. When you have a great shooter on the other team, you cannot leave that guy. And that's kind of where the triangle 2 stems from. Like, you cannot leave Con Knippel. That is too much space for an elite shooter.
Yeah, Scheyer says he is a multi-dimensional player, and as you've been talking about, Chris, perhaps his best quality is that he competes.
I think you could say that for he and Flagg. You know, they share that DNA. And it's just too much. And, you know, Duke's advanced. Jon Scheyer spent all summer in the preseason practicing with a 24-second shot clock. And I think it's helped their advance. They get the ball from one end to the other so quickly, and then once it's down there, they're just into playing. And because they're all very unselfish, that's where you get those open looks.
Rucker, tough shot. Flagg with another rebound. Gillis tries again. That experience that he brings, 11 NCAA tournament games at Purdue as a grad transfer, is going to be invaluable here at Duke.
And another shooter. I mean, 75%, 3/4 of his shots last year were from 3. To have him around a guy like Zach Edey was a huge weapon.
Yeah, he was a 47% three-point shooter last year as the 6th man of the year in the Big Ten with the Boilermakers. Malawacz back into the game, gives it to Flagg. James spotting up from the wing. Long rebound fought for. It goes out of bounds. And Duke will keep it. Apparently the last to touch was Kendall Haley, senior from Los Angeles. By the way, out of the same high school, Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks, as former Army women's basketball coach, the late Maggie Dixon. Also, of course, her brother Jamie Dixon, the head coach at TCU. Made his way all the way across the country from LA to West Point. And as has always been the case, as you know, Chris, although you were in Long Island, not that far from being recruited up to West Point, it's a program that recruits nationally.
It sure is, and I couldn't let you say the name Maggie Dixon without letting it pass. What a wonderful woman she was, a great coach. The Dixon family, a great family. Her passing was so tragic. She's actually buried at West Point, one of the few civilians to have that honor.
Rucker brings it back out, now gets the ball back. 15 on the shot clock, 11:42 remaining first half here at Cameron Indoor. Scovins, tough shot. Flagg with yet another rebound. Gillis up to the rim. Malawacz was fouled and will head to the free throw line as Allensbach picks up the personal foul, his first. Coach Shire's team looking to move to 2-0 on the young season. Of course, Con Knippel and Cooper Flagg are the two headliners right now of this top-rated recruiting class brought in this year by Jon Scheyer, but they are far from alone. There are others, including Kaman Malawacz, who's heading to the free throw line. The 7'2" freshman from South Sudan has a 9-foot 8-inch standing reach, and he is just scratching the surface right now, Chris.
Just scratching the surface, but he's got a great attitude. He's really coachable. I mean, you talk to the Duke staff, he's a sponge. He's a great talker.
Yes.
You know,
you notice that at practice and shoot
really,
around.
I mean, he's just got a big personality. He's you know, easy to play with, easy to coach, and Justin Robinson on the staff for Duke has done a great job working with him. And again, he's got to keep it simple. He's got to rebound like a maniac, block shots, catch lobs, and dunk it. Yeah, you know, that's kind of where he's at right now. But I think their ceiling defensively is tied in part to how good he can get at protecting their rim.
And again, he just turned 18 in September. He is the 5th youngest player in Division I men's basketball and only been playing basketball for about 5 years. The Army drought continues, about 4.5 minutes since the Black Knights scored. Good luck driving at Malawacz right there, affecting another Army shot.
Well, they don't shoot it from 3 well, and so that's kind of what it boils down to, is driving the ball to the basket. But it's going to be hard for Blake Barker or anybody on this Army team to attack Malawacz there in the middle of the paint.
The Army was dead last nationally in free throw shooting last season, only 59%. 362nd out of 362. They also were bottom 10 in the country in offensive efficiency. But again, getting number 1 Jalen Rucker back should help that. But they have hit a cold spot here tonight against this Duke defense. Now over 5 scoreless minutes. Deep 3 put up by Barker, no. What do you make, Chris, of the Duke defense from what we've seen so far this season?
It's been good. You know, again, the challenge, you know, in stretches of the Maine game was guarding the ball. You know, Maine was able to get into their paint and cause some damage, and you know, you've seen Army get there a little bit. You know, that's where, you know, Tyrese Proctor and Caleb Foster have to make an impact. Like, those two guys have to be the Derek White and the Drew Holiday of the Celtics for this Duke team.
Okay.
You got to be okay playing with better players and understand what your impact can be. You know, be a table setter, hit, catch, and shoot threes for both of those guys. Get in the stance and defend the ball.
Caleb Foster back into the game. Out there with Proctor, Knippel, Flagg, and Brown, who sets a screen. Foster. Back tap. Knippel. Way off the mark. Nearly tracks down his own miss, but it's gathered by Blake Barker. Latchkowski gives to the point guard Curry, who gets the Black Knights back on the board and back to within 5. Flagg attacks and will head to the free throw line to shoot 2.
Ryan Curry didn't shoot a great percentage last year, but he's one of those game shooters. Hit a big 3 in their game, tight game the other night against Albany. And how about the reaction? Says, I got your 3 right here. I think that's what that was.
Of course. See, he was on the all-rookie team in the Patriot League last year. And all things considered, Army going more than 5 minutes without a point and only being down 5 right now. They've got to feel okay. Tomorrow, our next men's basketball matchup features another school connection renewed. It's the Tennessee-Louisville rivalry. Haven't met since 2018. They'll square off at noon Eastern right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. We're so anxious to see how the Pat Kelsey era works out. Of course, last year Louisville won only 8 games, made a coaching change. What'd you see out of the Cardinals against Morehead State in their opener on Monday, Chris?
Well, first of all, the energy is back in the Yum Center. We need that building rocking, both for the sport of college basketball, and I think the ACC needs it as well. And look, they're built in the image of Pat Kelsey. You know, it's got a Pitino-esque vibe. They were pressuring defensively, shoot a lot of threes. And they got a number of different guys on a rebuilt roster that can make an impact. So it was just good to see that building rocking.
Tough shot by Caleb Foster. He's now got 5. Blue Devils back up by 7. Skip pass. Rucker off the bounce. That's the offense from the perimeter they need from him.
Nice shot fake. Stepping in, under control, up and down.
Brown gathers, gets it blocked from behind by Scovins.
It's a soft take if you're Malik Brown.
Flagg, big height advantage, gets it poked away, out of bounds, and a foul on the floor. Well, Rucker stuck his chin in there. He was not going to back down to the much bigger Cooper Flagg trying to back him down.
Well, as if you didn't expect. I mean, Army's not going to back down now. They may be outgunned here, but they're not going to back down. And, you know, I like the decision by Cooper Flagg to, you know, take it to a back down. But what a defensive play by Rucker.
Foul came on Latchkowski. Number 32 came in after the strip away. Flagg. Yes! 7 for the freshman from Newport, Maine. Curry tries to drive left. Proctor cuts him off, pokes it away. Curry saves. Shot clock down to 5. We're going to have a reach-in foul that goes against Duke. And we will step away. Blue Devils on top by 8 over the Black Knights of the Hudson.
Hey, kid.
Thank you to all the veterans for your service, just for this country, for all the work you put into it. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, my dad's actually in the military. My parents met on a military base.
We just appreciate what you do for our country.
Allow us to chase our dreams and to live our lives with safety.
To give their life so that we can have that privilege. God bless you guys.
Well said, Coach Pearl, here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Along with Chris Spatola, I'm Doug Sherman, and we have certainly A couple of gentlemen we'd like to highlight here tonight on the week of Veterans Day.
That's General Marty Dempsey, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, former Army West Point cadet, and that's General Bob Brown, played for Coach K in the late 70s at Army. Great player, averaged about 20 points a game. Just both those great leaders, great Americans.
Yeah, 4-star General Robert Brown was a 1,000-point scorer for Coach K, who apparently turned down the Michigan Wolverines, his home state school, to go to West Point and play for Coach K.
Yeah, he's a great player. John Shire got a kick out of that. Said no to Michigan to go to Army. He was, General Brown and I were actually in Iraq. I didn't serve under him, but we were over in Iraq 05, 06 at the same time, and his leadership was legendary. He was a lieutenant colonel at the time. It was no surprise that he continued to ascend through the ranks. Just, again, just a great leader. And he led, you know, as a guy who had been an athlete. You know, there was just an everyman way about him.
Well, we at the ACC Network and ESPN thank all veterans and their family members, including Chris Patola, for your service and what you have offered the rest of us. Malawacz makes the free throw, and again, it all comes together here in Durham because Mike Krzyzewski was the point guard for Coach Knight. And he famously, on graduation day in 1969, married his bride, as you see to the left there. He and Mickey got married right there at West Point on campus.
On graduation day.
Yep.
I still say to, you know, give him a hard time about it. I mean, you couldn't take a breather for a second, enjoy the graduation, and then get married. Certainly worked out.
Flag pulled down the rebound. He's got 7 points, now 5 boards. The freshman from Maine works into the lane. Rising up, can't get the roll. Malawacz keeps it alive. Again, the Blue Devils having a huge advantage on the offensive glass so far tonight. It turns into another three, this time off the fingers of Con Knippel.
Well, and Army's gotten a little bit lucky because Duke, that was their 11th offensive rebound, but they only have 7 second chance points. So Duke really hasn't made them pay yet.
James off the feed from Flagg. We've seen it time and time again, all the different things Cooper Flagg, outside of just scoring, is going to bring to this program. The Crazies enjoying the show with some separation for the 7th-ranked team in the country. The Blue Devils on a 10-0 run and turning some defense into offense. Poked away by James, and then he gets it back from Cooper Flagg. And I love what Cooper Flagg said after Monday's game. He says, quote, outside of the shots, only about 6% of the game is making or missing shots. So just priding ourselves around the 94% that doesn't revolve around shots, rebounding, playing good defense, playing with energy, those types of things that we can control. And again, this is coming from a 17-year-old, Chris.
Well, he's an outstanding player, and it starts with his willingness to compete. And there's an understanding. He is not hunting stats. He is hunting the right play. And so I think we have to temper the analysis on him throughout the year a little bit with that understanding that he could go for 25 one night, 7 the next, and the impact on the game will be of the same degree. That's the type of player that he is.
3 from the corner, misses by Jorn Everson, junior from Williston, North Dakota, into the game for Army. Knippel dumps it off. Flagg misses the layup, keeps it alive to himself and puts it in, plus the foul.
He shows you the emotion. You know, he's relentless, keeps working. Drop off there, doesn't get the finish, stays with it. That's his swag. You know, the way he competes, the way he gets after it. That's his bravado. He's not going to say a lot. You know, it's not, although he played on a great team at Montverde, but he and Con Knippel both undefeated last year with their respective high school teams. I mean, there's that winning DNA from both of them that they carry.
Yeah, Knippel won a state championship at Wisconsin Lutheran. Flagg with Montverde won a national championship. Flagg now with 10.7 rebounds, 1 assist. Nearly 14 minutes gone here in game 2 of his much ballyhooed college career. Curry, under 5 to shoot. Flagg may have gotten a piece. James is fouled. The bump is given on the perimeter by Blake Barker, one of 4 young men. Here's again a good look at the Duke uniform. They're wearing special uniforms tonight, gray with the gold trim. They also had special warm-ups on. Some of the guys on the bench are still wearing them because they are playing Army here. It's a tribute to military service and to Coach K's Army background, of course. And at the bottom of the jersey, they have the U.S. Military Academy at West Point motto. They have the words duty, honor, and country. And they don't take those sorts of things lightly, Chris.
No, they do not.
So
it's a motto.
It's a wonderful
thing. You're gonna have a motto. You got to take it seriously. What's your motto, Doug? I'm trying to figure that out.
I don't have a motto. Maybe I need a motto. I'm forever impressed, and the fact that, thanks to Coach K largely over the last few decades, this relationship between the two schools has been fostered. And it's something not lost on Jon Scheyer either. We talked to him this afternoon about what it means for his team to square up against a team from Army, and it's really important for his guys and for Coach K to measure themselves against these young men who give of themselves in a way that most of us don't.
I would love to see Duke go up there at some point. You know, first of all, I think it'd be great for Duke and its players. But to see that happen would be fantastic.
Back in the 1930s, Army did beat Duke 3 times in West Point. But that was a long time ago. It would be neat to see Duke go back up there. Flagg skies for another carom. 5:10 remaining in the half. Duke's lead has ballooned to 20. Flagg lost it. Looked like he lost it on his own. The official had a great view and said Kendall Haley got a piece of it, so Duke will keep possession.
Yeah, looks like he hits it from behind. You know, that mid post has become a real weapon for Cooper Flagg and for Duke, because he's such a mismatch. You know, he could face you up down there if he's got that live dribble. It's, you know, Army was working today on doubling that. It gave that mid post, that post up from Flagg, gave Maine some real problems the other night.
James missed badly. Is that the same kind of thing they tried to do with Kyle Filipowski last year?
A little bit, yeah. They're not as deliberate. You know, they got bogged down a lot with trying to throw the ball into him, and it was one of the reasons why Jon Scheyer went to this 5-out offense. So I went and saw Duke practice in August, and the first thing Jon said to me when I was asking him about their offense was, we've got to get the 5 out of there, meaning the paint. We've got to get them out of there. And with the shooting they have, when you can surround the open basket with great shooting, it lends itself to great spacing. And it's been really tough to guard, at least for the teams they've played in the early going here.
Ryan Curry getting an earful from the Cameron Crazies after inbounding right in front of him. The sophomore from Montgomery, New Jersey. Tough shot in the lane. Brown with a good closeout. Proctor the rebound, but lost his footing. The ball goes back to Curry. Bad pass taken away by Gillis. Another one of the freshmen just into the game. Misses his first attempt, Isaiah Evans. Jason Holloway has come in. Isaiah Caldwell as well for Kevin Kuick.
Army's had their looks from 3. It's just not what they do well.
Well, Cooper Flagg is showing you the entire arsenal. After going 0 from distance on Monday, 0 for 4, he has got his first 2 made threes at Duke here tonight. You see 18 unanswered points for the Blue Devils.
And he's got 8 rebounds to boot. I mean, he is showing you, pardon me, Army, he's showing you the full arsenal here. Cooper Flagg, he's a delight. Woo! Boy, competes.
Running it.
Back at Cameron Indoor Stadium, where Cooper Flagg is leading the way. The Blue Devils on an 18-0 run over the last 4:43, and the defensive clamps for longer than that, really about the last 10 minutes of game action, have tilted this game very much into the favor of Duke.
Yeah, they've taken advantage. You know, the ball pressure's been good. They've taken advantage off of turnovers. And, you know, look, part of it's Army, too, who's been complicit a little bit in this. I mean, they've had some open looks from 3, and you know, like we pointed out, they did not shoot it well last year. They did not shoot it well in their first game of this season, and have not shot it well here in this first half.
The United States Military Academy at West Point picked 7th in the preseason poll this year in the Patriot League, where Colgate is expected to win again. Nice job by Malik Brown. Blocked that shot and forced the shot clock violation.
You know, it was interesting talking to Kevin Kuick about his team. They are young. I mean, they're still very young, and we were talking about the success of Army's football team. And he said, when you look at the football teams too deep, there is not one freshman on there. That's a huge advantage. I mean, playing a sport at West Point as a freshman, as a plebe, is really hard. So to be, you know, to have continuity and experience, especially in the era of the transfer portal, you know, that's what Kevin Kuick is trying to establish with his basketball program.
And I know you, among all the Army alums, are excited about your football team, now 8-0, the only Division I FBS team to have not trailed in a game at all this season. And they will try to go to 9-0 at North Texas tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern time on ESPN2. Do you have the inside scoop whether Bryson Daly's going to play?
I don't.
Come on.
Doug, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you, my friend. It's classified. But here's my thing. What is with this Boise State? Why are they in the anointed group of 5 to this point? I mean, Army doesn't get a look.
It's the blue turf, maybe?
Boy, we have to beat Notre Dame? I mean, what are people waiting for here?
Well, here's our Week 11 ACC Network football lineup, and it begins tonight right after us, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Cal squares off against Wake Forest, and then tomorrow NC State hosts Duke in Raleigh at 3:30 Eastern, followed by number 18 Pitt and Virginia at 8 o'clock. Each game also is available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Duke now 6-3. The Blue Devils having dropped their last couple of games against very good opponents and trying to bounce back. Have a chance to see that tomorrow here on ACC Network. Foster, Evans, and Gillis around the perimeter, along with Flagg and Malawach.
They're in a box and 1 with the 1 on Cooper Flagg.
What do the Blue Devils need out of Caleb Foster this year? What does his role need to be?
Yeah, first of all, he's the point guard, you know, and his advance of the basketball is better than anybody they have on this team. I mean, he advances it quicker than anyone. My word.
Goaltending against Malawach, easy call, got it on the way down.
But it's interesting, you and I were talking to John Shire today about Foster. You know, he wants them to still attack, you know, to be in attack mode offensively, to look for his opportunities to score. So it's that balance between being a scorer and being the point guard and the table setter.
And we asked Coach Shire how much his development was hindered by the leg injury last year that cost him the last 9 games, and he said it was significant. He spent his offseason rehabbing the stress fracture in his right ankle, getting himself stronger. And then so you've got he and Proctor as the 2 veterans coming back in the backcourt. And they both will handle the basketball, but Foster, when they're both on the floor, will play the role of the point, right?
He will, yeah. Tyrese is going to be off the ball pretty much all the time. You know, Sion James comes in, he'll back up Caleb Foster. You know, John Shire has even mentioned, you know, Cooper Flagg, you know, who ends up bringing the ball up a lot off of missed shots. But, you know, put Cooper Flagg at the point at times, because then you can play Malik Brown and Malawach maybe together. There's a lot at his disposal in terms of personnel and what they can do with the interchangeable parts.
Well, Jon Scheyer's first 2 seasons as head coach at his alma mater both finished at 27-9. His win total has been tremendous, hoping to take another step this year and have a deep run come March and April. Another offensive rebound. This time Malawacz pulls it out. Whistle and a foul on the floor after the near steal by Josh Scovins. And we've seen it plenty out of Cooper Flagg. He is often the first one to hit the floor.
Well, and look, with their size, with Cooper Flagg and Malawacz's size in this game, yeah, I mean, that is playing with great character. Like the willingness to dive on the floor, to the competitive edge, the warrior spirit that he plays with is what separates him. And, you know, we've seen a lot of talented freshmen come through this program, certainly through college basketball. To me, that's what makes Cooper Flagg special, is talent combined with competes. You know, it's a given with the size of he and Malawacz to do work on the glass tonight, but then, you know, it's another thing to go out and do it. Both those guys have been maniacal. I mean, 17 rebounds between the 2 of them in this first half.
And the 2 of them combined for the rebound off the missed free throw from Josh Scovins. Sion James, the grad transfer from Tulane, playing his 5th year of college ball and nearly planted a facial on A.J. Allensbach. Picks up the personal foul and will send the hard driving transfer to the free throw line. That, by the way, is the 3rd foul on Allensbach.
My word. I mean, built like a football player. Had a great career at Tulane, and again, he's one of those transfers for Duke where they didn't go out and get the best players in the portal. They got the best fits, and he has fit really well. And really in practice, you know, a big part of it is he goes after those guards.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
He has stepped in. He's got a natural voice, and with the experience he had in the American Athletic Conference as a grown man, he really stands out during practice and shoot around as a leader on this team. Rucker gives to Scovins, last year's Rookie of the Year in the Patriot League, going to work.
He's a really good player. He's kind of a tweener. You know, if he was playing up a level, he'd have to be a 3. But, you know, in that Patriot League, he could get away with being that mismatch 4.
Around and out on Flagg, kept alive by Gillis. Malawacz throws it down.
It's really hurt Army, and then Malawacz going with the off-glove hand. Throws it down like a glove.
And now that you mention it, that seems to me, as Sion James buries a 3, is that a different glove than he wore Monday? It seems to be a little less padding, perhaps. Again, it's a minor hand injury, according to Coach Scheyer, that is just getting a little extra protection, in hopes that at some point before too long, Malawacz will play without that glove on the left hand. Final 5 seconds of the half. Deep 3, Scovins, no. Well, led by Cooper Flagg as he picks up where he left off on Monday in the opener against Maine. They head to the locker room here at Cameron with a comfortable lead, 43-20. And Flagg leading the way in every category. 13 points on 5 of 9 shooting to go along with the 10 rebounds. Now let's get it to Justin Walters and Seth Greenberg in the studio.
Stage is set, and we are ready to go. They said I can do it. Throw it down, big fella. Unbelievable shot.
The move, the finish, beautiful basketball. I ain't even close to finish. Whoa, this is
good is this rivalry?
It's going to be rocking in here.
Let the celebration begin.
And we are so glad college basketball is back, and we are glad to be with you here at Cameron Indoor Stadium as we get ready for the start of the second half. Duke by 23 over Army. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman, and so you've got a 23-point lead if you're the 7th-ranked team in the country, and if you're John Shire, what do you tell your guys? What do you assess from the first 20 and try and do in the next 20?
Well, they did what they're supposed to do. They dominated the glass. I mean, they're obviously physically superior to Army. They're plus 19 on the glass and had 15 offensive rebounds. But I think if you're John, they didn't play well in that first half. You know, I thought they were sluggish at times offensively. I thought they let Army push them around on some of those possessions. There was, you know, the ball wasn't moving as crisply as it has when Duke has been at their best offensively. And part of it is Army's game plan. Like, Army came in and said, look, we're going to let you shoot threes. And Duke came out and did that. Got off to a really slow start. They ended the half with 7 threes, but I think if you're John, you got to see a little bit more consistency in terms of effort, in terms of that ball moving in the half court.
Well, Flagg and Malawach combined for 20 points and 20 rebounds between them. Army as a team, 20 points, 16 rebounds. The offensive glass was a huge advantage for Duke. And their defense did hold Army to just having 4 players reach the scoring column, led by Josh Scovins, who's got 10. Army with the basketball to begin this second half. Ryan Curry, the point guard out of Montgomery, New Jersey. Five to shoot. Allen's back. He is fouled on the drive. Malawach picks up his first. By the way, if you hear the name Allensbach and you are an ACC basketball fan, there's a reason why that name is familiar, Chris. Malawach with a block shot.
Former Clemson Tiger. The father of A.J. Allensbach in the building here tonight.
That would have timed out perfectly if A.J. had been able to get that rebound to go. Con Kniffel step back 3. His third three. He's got 9 points, and the freshman from Milwaukee makes it a 26-point game. Flagg got a hand in the pass, and then the last to touch was Scovins, so it's Duke basketball.
There he is, Adam Allensbach. The great Adam Allensbach.
And AJ is one of 4 Carolinians on the expansive Army roster, getting an opportunity to play here in Durham. It's a good look and stroke from Jalen Rucker, the senior out of the Gilman School in Baltimore, who was first team All-Patriot League 2 years ago and is among the top 20 all-time leading scorers in Army basketball history. Tyrese Proctor joins the fun, his first 3 points of the night. I was going to ask you, as the number 9 all-time leading scorer in Army basketball history, Rucker with a big season could push it down to 10.
Well, that's what I've learned, Doug. As you get older, you move down those lists.
He might catch you tonight.
It's a depressing fact. Slow down, Jalen.
I think you graduated as the 5th all-time leading scorer. Of course, Kevin Houston is way out in front of everybody. But then the last time you and I did a Duke Army game 6 years ago, you were down to 7, and now you're down to 9.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for mentioning this.
Hey, you're still top 10. And here is Rucker working on Proctor. By the way, he was also and is the all-time leading scorer in his high school history. Big addition to come back to this roster this year for Kevin Kuick. Here he is again trying to work on Proctor. Off the front rim, long rebound, Allensbach. And another chance for Army off the miss by Scovins. Everybody gets a shot and everybody missed on that time. 49-26. Duke with the basketball, wearing their commemorative gray uniform. Drive by Caleb Foster, give him 7 points. Curry, 5 seconds to shoot. Proctor stays with him. Terrific bounce pass on the back door to Scovins.
And a really nice cut. Scovins realizing that Con Knippel was ball watching. Just kind of fell asleep on the weak side, and a good cut behind.
Flag. Malawacz got a hand on it, but it's Army with the basketball. Curry was on the All-Patriot League rookie team a year ago. 6-foot point guard, got great experience, going to pay off in the Patriot League this year. Again, shot clock down, tough shot with the left hand by Rucker. Malawacz with another board. That is the 12th rebound for the big man from South Sudan, and we've got a timeout.
Nice little backdoor here. Good recognition of the defense. Josh Scovins getting the easiest look he's had all day.
Well, on Monday night, late in the game against Maine, we saw Cooper Flagg cramp up. And he told us afterward that's all it was, no big deal, even though it looked quite painful in the moment. And it appears that we are having the same sort of issue here tonight for Cooper Flagg. It's been an unseasonably warm stretch. I think we got to 80 today, which was going to be some sort of all-time record for Raleigh-Durham. Quite humid, although he spent the last 2 years at Montverde Academy. He knows heat and humidity.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking during the break that it was something Paolo Banchero early in his career battled with, you know, the cramping issue. I mean, look, I think it's an adjustment. For somebody like Cooper Flagg, the level of work you have to put into playing a 40-minute game at this level versus what he was doing in high school. I think it's a
Yes. All right. All right.
Ooh.
10 conference, 6th man of the year. And again, he made 9 3-pointers in a game against Penn State a couple of years ago, a Mackey Arena record. He can fill it up in a hurry. Offensive foul after the pass goes against Josh Scovins. And that is his 3rd personal foul. That'll take us back to break. We'll step away and be back to Cameron right after this. He has made a couple of threes. We've talked pretty much about everybody else's role this season. So Proctor's more off the ball. Here he is from 3 again. Will that be his primary contribution to Duke this year, his outside shot?
It's what he does best, Doug. I mean, is he shoots the ball. And he's best when, you know, again, he's not messing around with it or playing with it. It's when he's hunting that catch and shoot when he's at his best. And look, it's not that he can't drive it, etc., but there's got to be an element of his game where he is not attempting the spectacular, he's dependable.
Well, he shows you that stroke. When he's got space, he's on balance, he's likely to make that shot. Around and out on Rucker. Proctor trying to extend his own personal 9-0 run. Knippel no. Isaiah Caldwell, the senior from Columbia, South Carolina, gets it blocked by Proctor. Good hustle to keep with the play and lay it back in by Josh Scovins. He's got 14 points to lead Army. Proctor Puts it on the deck. Outlet pass knocked away by James, out of bounds. Army will keep it. Well, as we presume, it's again cramps keeping Cooper Flagg on the sideline here, trying to get hydrated and get back out on the floor. You see the numbers. He had a fantastic first half, and again giving us a glimpse at the all-around game and the presence that he brings. And again, he's the second youngest player in Division I men's basketball. It really is something. Doesn't turn 18 until next month.
He is wise beyond his years. He really is, both in game and in his approach.
And again, he doesn't need to score to be the best player on the floor. And we have seen that both Monday against Maine and here tonight so far against Army. Offensive foul on the baseline, out of bounds, goes against the Blue Devils.
You know, this stretch for Duke, I mean, they had a little bit of a fight early against Lincoln in that exhibition game. Arizona State gave them no look. I mean, they just truck rolled them. And then Maine, fought for a little bit there in that first half. And then, Army, or rather Duke, ended up running away with that. And obviously this one's a 30-point game. I mean, Duke's got to have a game where they get an honest look at where they're at. They just haven't had that yet.
Well, it's going to come, and it's going to come soon. 3 ball by Rucker. He's now got 14 points. Into the game, Darren Harris, another one of the freshmen, number 8 in gray. Yeah, the schedule is going to get markedly more difficult in the next month for the Blue Devils. They'll take on 4 ranked non-conference opponents in the next month. On Tuesday, number 23 Kentucky in the Champions Classic, followed by a trip to Tucson, Arizona to take on number 10, the number 10 Wildcats. That's on November 22nd. Then November 26th, they face number 1 Kansas out in Vegas. And then, if that's not enough, Auburn is going to come here to Cameron December 4th on ESPN, a 9:15 Eastern tip. So they will be challenged. I am sure of that at times in the coming weeks.
Well, Tyrese Proctor's caught some fire. On balance, up and down, catch and shoot. Tyrese Proctor. He's wet. Doug Sherman.
Yes. Sherman, and we continue to get more and more good, big non-conference matchups, which is what the sport needs in November and December.
It sure is. The future of college basketball is about matchups and venues, and those matchups start with the blue bloods in our sport. And I think the coaches of those teams, John Shire, Hubert Davis, Bill Self, they bear that responsibility. And the fact that Duke is playing Arizona, playing Kansas, the Champions Classic. I mean, these are games that are important for the sport. Nice run out there.
Yeah, Isaiah Caldwell on the alley-oop from Jalen Rucker. First 2 points for the senior from Heathwood Hall Episcopal High School in Columbia, South Carolina.
It's getting harder and harder, Doug, to fight for eyeballs in this world, especially with football being what it is. We've got to play games that move the needle, and we're getting a lot of them this year in November, December.
Carolina's got a big one tonight.
They sure do.
By the way, Cooper Flagg is back out on the floor. Number 2 in gray for Duke. He'd been out for a few minutes getting rehydrated, dealing with cramps for the 2nd time this week. Good spot up from the left wing, and a beautiful stroke from Tate Latchkowski, a sophomore from Dallas.
That started with penetration going right by Caleb Foster. That's what, and John Shire's not happy about it. That's what he was talking about, the loose ends during that Maine game. Caleb Foster's got to be better than that. That led to that 3.
Thanks everyone, especially Vicky. She saved us enough to help us open our 2nd location.
Auto Owners offers discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance because they think the more you protect, the more you should save. That's simple human sense.
Welcome back to Cameron. This is the breakdown of the defense that we were just talking about, and this is where Duke's got to shore up. On this closeout, this is not how you close up. That Army player goes right by him, Jalen Rucker, right by. I mean, that's lazy defense. And now you're in rotation, and you don't even have a chance to get out to the three-point shot there. And Caleb Foster finds himself on the bench. I mean, that was the one takeaway for Jon Scheyer from the main game, was they got a little bit lazy when it came to defending the basketball and keeping it in front.
Cooper Flagg also takes a seat on the bench. Malawach, Knipple, who puts up the three and hits it. Out there with Proctor, Gillis, and James. 12 points for Con Knipple on 4 made three-pointers. By the way, Army has just continued to fight as you would expect. The second half score is Duke 25, Army 20 after that missed layup, but they are not going to go away.
Oh, they're not.
The largest lead was 32 for the Blue Devils. Proctor tries to dump it off. Malawach gathers, goes up, and he gets the roll. That's 9 for number 9.
Good patience there. You know, gathered the ball, got his feet under him.
Rucker, off a series of fakes, gets off the shot. He leads Army with 17 points tonight, 14 for Scovins. Off the spin, James has a chance for 3.
That's the thing with Duke, Doug, is you off of missed shots, you have got to get back, be set, and that's just kind of an Olay defense. I mean, look, Jalen Rucker, you're going to fire it up on one end, you got to be committed defensively. He just kind of lets Sion James have his way. But if you don't stop the basketball, Duke's got a number of guys who can handle and get it to that rim. Strong drive there by James.
And so Sion goes to the line. His father, Elbridge James, played at then Division III Binghamton. His mom, Carol, brother, Jelani, was a walk-on at Georgia Tech. And again, Sion James was an unranked recruit coming out of high school, out of Sugar Hill, Georgia. He went to Tulane, became a 1,000-point scorer, now playing his 5th year at Duke University. Just keep working at it.
And he's getting a master's degree here, and he is delightful to talk to. Just an engaging guy.
Proctor again. Left that one short. Caldwell dribbles up. His older brother Joshua started Army just a couple of years ago. 2-time Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year. Knipple into the lane, tough finish, and he'll have a chance for
3. Con Knipple. It's not always pretty with him, but it is wildly effective.
Back at Cameron, Duke 75, Army 43, and we got a pretty good taste in the first half of the generational talents of Cooper Flagg, but we've not seen nearly as much Chris Spatola here in the second half for the freshman from Maine.
Battling some cramps, and you know, again, that's we saw Paolo Banchero go through that. It was a big adjustment, and for a guy who plays as hard as he does, I think you realize what you're putting your body through completely.
Con Knipple completes the three-point play. He's now got 15 points. And Knipple is 5 points away tonight if he plays long enough, makes a couple of threes. He could join Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, and Cam Reddish as the only Blue Devil players to score 20 or more points in their first 2 games at Duke. Malik Brown got a hand on another shot. He's got as fast a hands as
He does.
anybody.
You know, you were sharing the story earlier. You know, the Duke staff, they track deflections, and he is off the charts with the number of plays. You know, he's either poking away for a turnover or just disrupting. He's got such a knack for it.
He's a young man who grew up in Culpeper, Virginia, wanting to go to Duke, but he was not recruited out of high school. He went to Syracuse. Didn't play a big role as a freshman, really blossomed last year. Put his name in the portal, and what do you know? His dream school came calling, and he's the perfect fit for Jon Scheyer's roster.
And of course, John remembered him because he put up, what was it, 25 on Duke? Put up a big number on them.
His career high last January came here at Cameron, 26 points, including 5 dunks. Yeah, the opposing coach doesn't forget that.
Right.
I should mention that was in an easy Duke victory, but here is Malik Brown. And again, we've talked about his ability to pass the basketball and the role that he happily plays on the offensive end. Gillis fouled down the shot. He will head to the line for a pair.
You haven't seen it as much tonight with Malik at the 5. We saw it more against Maine, but they get a lot more slips and action off the ball when he is playing that 5. You know, he plays at the top of the key. Bob McKillop used to call them joystickers.
Okay.
When you got your 5 up there directing and facilitating offense. And we saw a lot of slips, you know, and a lot of teams are switching now, as you know, Doug, mostly 1 through 4, and those slips are how you take advantage of that if a team's not switching tightly. And Malik, he just got a good knack for either playing up there at the top of the key or on that little short roll off of the high screen. Just a good feel for the game.
A couple of free throws by Gillis give him 8. I love what Duke associate head coach Chris Carrawell said about the defense of Malik Brown. Quote, he can jack you up. He can jack up your whole offense, by the way. And he says he's a beast defensively. Here he is defending on the wing. Staying with Josh Scovins, the #1 offensive weapon, or one of the 2 offensive weapons primarily for Army. There he is once again forcing another turnover. And whether Blake Barker was going to lose that ball or not, you know Malik Brown is going to be right around the basketball. Under 7 minutes remaining in regulation. Proctor has a step. Strong finish. He's having himself a big second half. 14 for the night. Curry in some trouble, able to find a teammate. 10 seconds to shoot. The point guard gets it back. Barker. Oh, that's a tough shot.
Very tough.
First 2 points for Barker out of Columbus North High School, Columbus, Indiana. Proctor being much more proactive here in the second half. Couldn't get the shot to go. And it's Army basketball.
Well, you don't have to ask him twice to hunt his shot. I mean, that's the one thing where Proctor, and look, it's a 35-point game. And as anybody who's played the game knows, get to that point in the game, a lot of guys are hunting numbers. But there are times with as unselfish as Duke can be, you know, he kind of sticks out at times as the one guy who's really hunting his stuff out there.
Well, you certainly, Chris, know what it's like to come into this building and wear one. You know, the 2 times you played here for Army, things didn't go so well for the cadets.
Right.
And so take us back here some 20-plus years. What did you do against Jay Will?
I got worked. If this is the play I think that it is, he goes right by me, speaking of going right by somebody, yep, and puts me and the ball in the basket. That was my experience with Jay Williams.
Now, I looked at that box score. Brown throws down the miss. I looked at that box score from '99. I think you held Jay Will to 10 points.
Coach K held him to 10 points. Let's be clear.
And his minutes were down because the game was pretty one-sided. Tough shot. Great use of his body. Josh Scovins, he's got a good frame at 6'6", 220. Well, win or lose, when you come in and play in this building, whether you're a mid-major or an ACC rival, you will never forget coming into Cameron.
Oh, you won't. It was one of the cool things Kevin Kuick was just talking about. You know, they went to Indiana last year, and the game was actually tied with 4 minutes left going into that building. But, he was talking about experiences. Most people understand. Nice hustle play there. It's a grind at West Point. And so to come down here, Army went over and practiced at North Carolina. And then to come over here and to play in Cameron, those are the experiences that as a head coach, I think I give Kevin Kuick a lot of credit, to expose his players and team to that.
Malawacz takes a seat. Good battle inside. That one won by Allensbach at 6'8", 225. He's now got 6 points.
Well, he's important. He and Tachkowski, they had a lot more size Army did last year. They kind of had a three-headed rotating monster at the big. They don't have nearly the size this year.
Although on Monday in their opening night win against Albany, both their primary bigs, Allensbach and Lechkowski, were good. They were a combined 6 for 6 from the floor. They got to get some production out of those guys. Darren Harris makes it 87-51 with his first bucket of the night. We'll take a break with 3:48 remaining in regulation. The 7th-ranked Blue Devils looking to start things 2-0 on the year. You see the first half, second half shooting numbers on the right side of your screen there. Duke has been in control, using an 18-0 run in the first half. Cooper Flagg did most of his damage in the first half. It's been a quiet second half for him, largely due to cramping. And now the final 3:48, along with Chris Spatola. I'm Doug Sherman, and what do you know? Number 6 in gray had another deflection. Army gets it back. Can't turn it into 2. Chance Perkins had it hanging on the rim.
Well, the call came very late. And it was one of those, we're under 4 minutes in a blowout. Let me see if this thing goes in. He got fouled. No, doesn't go in. All right, let's blow the whistle.
You think officials really think that way?
No question. We're all thinking that.
So a chance for a trip to the line for Perkins. Well, the ACC Fall Championships continue Sunday with the men's soccer quarterfinals beginning at 2 Eastern and continue Thursday with the semifinals. All matches are right here on ACCN and the ESPN app, the home of ACC championships. There are 6 ACC men's soccer teams nationally ranked. Pit the #1 seed. By the way, Duke will take on Cal in a 6 o'clock match. I saw the Golden Bears leaving the practice field here at Durham as we were leaving Cameron from this afternoon's Duke basketball shoot-around. It is that time of year with lots of sports happening, and if you're an ACC fan, this is the place to find it all. Well, there's a chance to see Isaiah Evans. He's another one of the highly rated freshmen from Fayetteville, North Carolina. He was number 15 in last year's ESPN 100. Comes here to Duke with a reputation as an elite shooter, high basketball IQ. But at least early in the season, these first couple of games, getting regular minutes appears like it may not be in the cards right away. Luke Benson, number 42 in black, with a chance to play here at Cameron. He's a senior from Atlanta. Benson gets the shot up. Brown with the rebound. 47-29 rebound advantage for the Blue Devils tonight. Foster with a runner. He's got 11 points. Duke had 6 in double figures against Maine on Monday. And they now have 6 tonight. Foster joins Flagg, Proctor, Knipple, Malawacz, and James. Poked away by Brown. Army will keep underneath with 12 in the shot clock. And the people's choice, Spencer Hubbard, comes off the Duke bench. The only guy in the roster shorter than 6'5". We can all relate to him.
Exactly.
Come on, Spencer. Well, he was a 2-year walk-on, now 2-year scholarship player out of Harvard Westlake High School in Los Angeles. This is the 17th game he's gotten into over the last 4 years. Nice looking bank shot by Blaine St. Clair from Boone, North Carolina. Hubbard sets up his teammate for the corner three, but it clangs off the side of the backboard for Cameron Sheffield. Foul call against Neil Begovic.
These Army bench guys have come in and they've been wanting to do this all game.
Of course.
I mean, they've been foaming at the mouth to get in. They have taken it right at Duke.
Jackson Mayo, number 21 from Mililani, Hawaii, is also into the game. JT Doherty, number 33. Under 2 minutes remaining in the game. Well, Duke scored 96 against Maine on Monday. Crowd would love for them to get to the century mark here tonight. Hubbard, no look pass again, looking for an assist, and he's got one. Pure shot by Evans. There's the stroke that we heard so much about.
Well, and it started with the pass by Hubbard. I mean, nice job changing direction to get 2 feet in the paint, and then a nice skip to Evans.
Mayo back out front to Doherty. JT Doherty, a senior from River Falls, Wisconsin, gets himself into the scoring book. He can forever tell the story of that shot I hit at Cameron that night. Begovic gives it back to Hubbard for 3. The people's choice now with 10 career points as a Duke Blue Devil.
He didn't smile. He didn't react. He said, that's right, Spencer Hubbard. Get to know the name.
Very cool. 98-58. Why not put it up, Jackson Mayo? Well, the shot clock is still in place, so will Duke take another shot to try to get to 100? I say yes.
Yeah, they're going to run something here.
For 101. Sheffield, no, and that may end all hope of triple digits for Duke. Although maybe not. The takeaway by Harris. And he lays it in. Final score 100-58. Duke over Army. The top-rated recruiting class in the country, Chris, showed out here tonight.
Yeah, they did. Obviously physically superior to Army, but they did. You know, Flagg and Malawach were monsters on the glass, especially in the first half. Konkanippel came hot here in the second. So you got 3 of those guys with supreme talent. The cramping thing with Cooper Flagg, that's 2 games in a row. You know, it'll be interesting to follow that as they go off to Atlanta for that Champions Classic in Kentucky on Tuesday.
Flagg finishes with 13 points, 11 rebounds. Malawach, 11 points, 14 rebounds. Once again, our final score, 100-58. For Chris Spatola and our entire crew, I'm Doug Sherman saying so long from Cameron Indoor Stadium. It is time for ACC football.